standing in front of my '02 Impreza RS. She's a turd, but she's gorgeous, kinda. It was I've always loved Subarus and never owned one. This is my first, and I got a deal on it. I basically got it because someone hit a snowbank with it and it got stuck in gear, and he was just tired of fiddling with it, couldn't figure it out, and he basically handed it to me for $1,000. It's got 160
something,
maybe 1,000 miles on it, and yeah, so it's the non-turbo 2.5 yada yada 5-speed. But yeah, let's I'll give you a walk around of it.
She's gorgeous. So you said that the kid hit a snowbank, got it stuck in first gear, we think.
Yeah. It was stuck in first gear. I was in my test drive. It was very slow, but it seemed to drive fine in first gear. So we figured we could fix it.
Got her home, threw her on the lift, pulled the tranny out. Looked like the, pardon my ignorance of the technical terms, but the shift shaft selector, sure. I'm gonna call it.
Yeah, it's a rod on a rod in the transmission that kind of selects your shift shaft.
And it was stuck in between two of them.
Yep, stuck there.
So we just pulled the tranny out, cracked her open, put her back together how she should be, slammed it back together, and she's mint.
Yeah, now she rides and drives and goes through the gears pretty easily, you know, as easily as you would expect a 170,000 mile car to do. But honestly, looking around, the head gaskets we know are semi-notorious for failing on these and whatnot, but it seems to be pretty dry, which is a pleasant surprise. We found a broken axle when we popped the axle shafts out of the tranny to pull it and all that kind of stuff, but really I'm probably $1,200 deep into a running driving Impreza, which is pretty good.
Not bad. Pretty sweet zip tie job on the cold air intake.
Oh yeah.
With a hole in the hood to ensure proper flow straight through the hood supports.
None of which is my doing.
Yeah, all previous owner. But we should have filmed us pulling the tranny out. That was kind of the kick in the pants we needed. We're like, we're going to try to contribute. All we do is watch YouTube.
Yeah,
so
we literally watch YouTube for...
We decided we'd try to contribute a little bit. So now we're filming stuff. Beautiful interior,
yeah,
honestly.
Interior is in really great shape.
Super clean. It has the infamous Subi rust.
Yeah, you'll see it.
Bum, bum, bum. On both quarters. Sick catback exhaust, bro. She does sound good, I will admit. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. That looks good.
Honestly, I haven't even touched the interior yet. Haven't cleaned it, haven't done anything.
A hell of a lot cleaner than my $900 Subaru. Yeah, she's beautiful. Look at that.
Dash is in great shape. Steering wheel's in great shape.
No cracks that we found yet. Hopefully this isn't too shaky. We just want to give you a walk around before we just sit you on a stand and start working. It has a bit of a rough start. It's the rough idle at first. Got a code. It has one engine code, right? Got it red, and it was a
ignition coil.
Ignition coil. Oh yeah, there's the. I don't know if I showed you that. Infamous Subi rear quarter rust on both sides, which will be fixed eventually. So anyway, we grabbed a coil pack for it. That's what we'll be replacing today. We're also going to do a coolant flush and fill, right? Full flush? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, that's the plan.
So we will flush that, get her filled back up, and she should be pretty happy, I would think. Yeah. Hopefully we're in shot here. Back in the garage because it's still cold. Got our designated work wear on. Yeah. So let's swap this coil.
So you saw how easy it was to take the old one out. Literally 3 10mm bolts. You know, obviously your spark plug wires. And 1 harness plug. There she be. So we're going to pop her back in. It's, yeah.
Easy as that.
Just that easy.
Easy for me to say I'm supervising. It's like government work.
Hopefully, this actually fixes it. That would be sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it still runs. Like, we've been driving it around, cruising up and down the street. It just isn't real happy when it starts, right? That's the main thing.
It's
Idles real rough.
That start.
Which I wouldn't have immediately thought ignition coil personally, but that's what the code is.
Right, yeah, I wouldn't have thought that either.
So, I mean, even if this isn't the issue, this was an issue.
And the code just popped up 2 days ago.
When this started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
well,
I mean,
all signs point to yes then.
it never had a check engine light before.
When you picked it up, it didn't?
Right, yeah, no, the dash was perfect.
That's nice.
I guess that's it.
Is that easy?
Put the battery terminals back on and try it.
Time to put the battery in. Andrew's gonna fire up and see what happens.
Come on, baby. Wiggle the terminal.
She's not happy.
I didn't tighten anything.
Give that a go. Fire right up. Once it had a battery.
Fire right up. Go shake, rattle, and roll. Go to the light.
Go engine light. Time to push going. Alright, so again, nothing we do is by any means a tutorial, but we're just trying to think of the best way to clean out all the gunk because there was a stop leak in the coolant system. We found it after, well, Andrew had his suspicions based on the radiator cap, how it looked, and then of course when we drained the radiator, which you saw earlier, definitely stop leak, so...
Lots of metal flake. Or not metal flake, gold flake.
Little gold flake.
Little gold flake stuff.
It looks pretty. Anyway, so we popped the two heater core hoses off. I've got one running down to a funnel, which I get the awesome job of laying underneath the car and holding. And Andrew's going to take a garden hose and blow some water through the other heater core hose. And we'll try to clean out the whole heater core so that way we don't just flush any potential disgusting stuff that's in there now into the engine when we go and do the block flush. So
Yeah.
just trying to do it piece by piece so we mitigate our risk of making it any worse. So hopefully you guys can see that, and hopefully you don't hear me cursing from underneath the car when I eat coolant. So let's try it.
redid this because, like I said, I had my suspicions with stop leak and whatnot being in it, and we all know stop leak can be bad for your coolant system. Definitely glad that Caleb had the idea to do this before, like go ahead and flush the heater core before we flush everything through the block, because this is what you get. These nice chunks of stop leak and whatever that is. Pretty gnarly stuff to be shoving through your engine block.
If anyone else is a EJ251 fan, which is what's in this beautiful beast right here, Subaru, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Subaru issued a coolant conditioner, they called it, because unfortunately these things weren't being maintained as they should be, and the first thing to go when your coolant system isn't maintained, especially on a horizontally opposed engine, is often the head gaskets. Unfortunately, these do not have multi-layer steel head gaskets. At least in this generation, the 251 does not, at least from factory. So in order to try to remedy this bad name they're getting with head gasket failures, they issue this coolant conditioner, they call it, and it is stop leak. So we're not faulting the previous owner. This could be Subaru genuine stop leak, so to speak. But that's the downfall. So yeah, you may save your head gaskets for a little while, but you might be building up gunk everywhere else. So glad we did it. Now we can move on to the next part of the flush.
Also, while we were at it, working on the coolant system and whatnot, I was noticing I was getting a tiny little leak right here out the where the hose meets the upper port for the radiator. And I, popped everything off. I've already loosened everything. I popped everything off, and I know I read somewhere, or somebody told me once that these radiators on this gen of Subaru, I guess, has problems with cracks and whatnot in here, but this one looks fine. But the hose looks super blimped out and just really old and shot, so we went ahead and picked up a new hose. It was like 12 bucks, so figured we'd go ahead and replace the upper. It's an easy switcheroo in here. It even comes with the sweet sleeve. Huh? Oh, she's a little bit tight. Oh yeah, look at that. Holy cow. Like a glove. We'll tighten these clamps back down, she'll be mint.
A little idea of why Andrew was a little concerned about the condition of this hose.
And why I'm freaked out by tightening these metal hose clamps on these little hoses, especially once they get old. It just chews them up.
She's definitely a little ballooned out. I'd say that might have something to do with your trickle of a leak. There's some more evidence of that stop leak.
Can't really see it. You can see the gold flake there.
Oh yeah, there you go. You can see that. Just be careful of that stuff, guys. We've had bad experiences with it. Not saying that it's a bad idea. I'm sure it has its use, but just be wary.
Ouch. Okay, we're full. Full? Good. So, start the car, and I'll be ready to pour more in. See if you can tighten that. Tighten it? Yeah. So... righty tighty. So... You know I struggle with this. The righty... I've said it before.
Clockwise.
Clockwise tight.
Thank you. Clockwise. What's wrong with you, Caleb?
It's a circle.
So fucking smart, but when it comes to... What is it? Righty tighty?
It's a circle. If you go right long enough, you're eventually going left.
There was enough.
Just count a little bit over it. Like, you know, faster. As it started, kind of thing, yeah.
We flushed the radiator, closed that up, opened up the heater core, flushed the heater core, closed that up, put it all back in the system, ran the car, made sure that it got up to operating temperature.
Made a massive mess.
Made a huge mess. You'll probably see a blooper or 9. But hey, we got it. Again, nothing we do here is a tutorial. We don't know what we're doing. We're just trying to make things happen.
And I got really wet.
And he got really wet. But we did it. We got it up to operating temperature. Kept feeding it with a hose, make sure it had enough water in the system. Kept an eye on the temp gauge. It's beautiful. We ran it until, I don't know if you can see that. This is kind of a hazy jar. Maybe you can see that.
Here, come up close to the camera. I'll tell you when you. Keep coming. Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's almost drinking water right there.
You know, almost.
I wouldn't drink it. But yeah, so we're pretty happy with that. We feel confident that the radiator has been thoroughly flushed, the heater core has been thoroughly flushed, and the engine block has been thoroughly flushed. So, now that's done, we're going to tighten the petcock back up. Whoa. And we've got our concentrate. We're using Peak Global Lifetime. Got our
Gallon of distilled
water. Yes, we are aware of Subaru specific coolant, and according to my research, this meets ASTM, I think it's 3306. Yes. Thank you. ASTM D 3306, which if I'm not mistaken, I'm sure if anyone is watching this, they'll correct me if I'm wrong. That is the same ASTM standard that Subaru's coolant meets. I know some of them are phosphate type, and this is phosphate free, or I think it's phosphate.
I don't know anything about this.
Either way.
We have done a lot of research though.
Yes, either way. If I'm not mistaken, this meets the same standard. So
Let's do
we
it.
trust it.
Let's do it.
Pretty well sorted now. Hopefully we were able to get good enough footage you guys could see. We bled it as best we could without having the proper tools, to be frank. I mean, they do make tools to do that where it keeps the system somewhat pressurized. You can keep your head above the, keep head above the inlet. We don't have those tools. We weren't going to buy those tools because we've never used them in the past, and it's worked out, knock on, whatever that is. So we did as best we could. Looked pretty good. Hopefully there you guys could see a few seconds there where there was minimal to no bubbles. Slide the radiator cap back on, put a little bit in the overflow. We're going to drop this beast down,
And we're going to clean things off first.
Oh yeah, good call. Clean things off, we sprayed some coolant everywhere, yeah. Clean things off so we don't have any corrosion issues. Then drop it down. One of us take it around the block, the other one's going to clean up the garage a little bit. And we'll see if it goes. If it overheats, we'll do it again. stands again. Just gonna throw an oil change on it, and I think Andrew's just gonna drive her for a while, see if she's happy. Let's get to it. All right, let's see if we can get a good look at this filter and the big mess we made, because we missed the drain pan a little bit. Okay, so you can orient yourself. Luckily, these are super convenient. They just stick right out the bottom for you. Found a mystery plug in the engine bay. It appears that one of the, I'm sure many previous owners had aftermarket headlights at some point. And that is probably, well, this might have something to do with why we don't have any headlights. We have a fog light that works. So, just kind of searching around. I see a culprit, another potential male unplugged end down here. I don't know if you can see that. So we're gonna plug them in and see what happens. Probably nothing.
Hey, there's headlights.
Seriously?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if this really matters. I've always been a fan of what do they call it? Priming the oil filter.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna pour a little fresh oil. Napa. Andrew splurged for the good stuff.
Semi-synthetic.
So, it is. It's high quality protection synthetic blend. Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna pour a little in here, and then I've also always been told to rub a little around the rim. I don't know why. That's one of those things I was just told as a kid, and I never questioned. I don't think it's never hurt anything. I'm sure it's not helping. Probably not doing anything. But it's never made it any worse, so I'm gonna keep doing it. You know, don't fix what's not broken. So let's see how much oil I can spill. Very likely onto Andrew, and try to stay in frame here. Oh, that went pretty well. And you just get in there nice and deep like. A little fresh oil on the O-ring, I guess it would be. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. I don't even know if I'm in frame. Thank you.
Garage out here later.
She's getting closer to being a daily.
Hopefully she is a daily now. So, hopefully in this video you've at least seen replace the coil pack, ignition coil, thank you. Full coolant flush and refill. That was fun. Fresh oil change, and we have headlights now.
Yeah.
Pretty essential to a daily. So, we also have fresh front diff and transmission fluid. They're shared on these because we pulled the tranny and fixed that issue, and unfortunately didn't film that, so we apologize. That was probably way more interesting than everything we did film.
Yeah.
But again, we're just trying to get these things on the road. There are fun projects coming. There are also plenty of projects down in the barn. I mean, there's a lot of motorcycles, quads. Everything needs work done. But a lot of those are more fun parts. Like,
Right.
sometimes they're speed parts, sometimes they're look cool parts.
Right.
Mostly not just maintenance. So, hopefully you've enjoyed. And if anyone's watching, thank you for watching. And stick around for hopefully more interesting videos in the future, not just us changing the oil on our beaters. our $1,000 Craigslist Subarus. Maybe we'll turn them into builds eventually. Who knows?
That could be an in-game goal.
Yeah, down the road. Coilovers are in the future for both of these cars because the suspensions are shot, and that's all the rationale we need to lower them. So, so hopefully that you'll see that in a very near future. But yeah, these bad boys should be on the road, and keep watching. Cut.
Good.
Cut.